Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, or older people complaining. Let me gently introduce our panel for tonight's debate. Now, be good, children. The magic Dr. Orlando, that indefatigable Kathleen Taylor, the legendary Jason Springer now.
JT, what's good?
Hey, what's up? That marvellous sophistication was Jane Carter.
Hello.
Amusing yourself.
No amusing of oneself while on air. The Dark Lord of Transylvanian Pheromones.
I've never been to Transylvania, by the way.
And joining tonight, fresh from stand-up on the stage, Mikey Pokorny.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So, we start with a couple of easy ones. Going back into the 60s, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there have been robots on TV and film. Whether it's Doctor Who or the Jetsons or whatever it is. If you had a choice of any well-known robot from TV or film to be your servant, who would you choose? If you had a choice of any well-known robot from TV or film to be your personal servant, who would you choose? Jason Springer now.
Honestly, I think I would choose Bishop from Aliens because, number one, he's probably the most loyal robot I've ever seen in TV or movie. And I would just have fun watching him do the knife trick with his fingers all the time.
He's engineeringly inclined. You know, he's like really good at solving problems.
Exactly, he's good at solving problems.
And he can be
loyal.
He can be bisected, and he still perform.
Exactly, you can rip him in half. Yeah, and still do what you need him to do. So
that's true.
He's like he keeps on going, man.
Have you noticed that robots always go in one direction in movie? They always eventually turn against the creator, like Bishop even in the next one, in the next Alien, right? Or the first cyborg in the first Alien went rogue. Looks like the current alien's gonna go wrong.
Hey, no, my choice would not turn against anybody.
What's which one's yours?
C-3PO.
Yeah, that's good.
He's pretty useless.
But why would
we'll give you fun.
Wait, who? He's a protocol droid.
C-3PO.
Be helpful.
Exactly. He can help you with whatever you tell him to do.
Dude, that guy's worthless.
He is. He's worthless. But he'd be a lot of fun.
But he will never challenge you. I mean, you take this
He'd be
idea.
polite.
You take this idea of a robot actually trying
Alexa
to defeat
is
the
more
maker.
helpful.
It's not going to happen.
You know, she can do more. You know, HAL 9000 is actually Arthur C. Clarke probably had a good point because he kind of foresaw where the robotics are going. He created HAL 9000, which was a disembodied presence. You know, he didn't have a body. The robot didn't have a body, but it had conscience. And this is where we go. I mean, Alexa is pretty much that. She can, do all kinds of stuff. You just talk to her,
She can't change your tire, though.
And neither can HAL 9000.
But see, this was like the important thing to me. Can I go through my thought process?
Yeah.
Because my thought process, I don't think it was surprised.
I can actually see you've actually got notes, haven't you?
Of course.
I mean,
this is a loaded question.
You're really.
This
one
requires a lot of
It's supposed to be a lightweight.
I'm not
question.
Sure of my final answer, but Evo's question made me think that I'm leaning in the proper direction for my final answer. So, when we talk about a robot to be my servant, the very first thing I come up with is fembots. Like,
if
how would you not?
If anybody was behind you, you would be leaning in the proper direction.
Get your generic run-of-the-mill model XXX05 Fembot.
Exactly.
But you liked my suggestion even better, didn't you?
Well, see, here it goes. So then I start thinking about the robot from Ex Machina, because she was pretty hot too.
But always ends up killing the creator.
Always kills everybody. So then I start thinking, okay, so then I want a robot that's going to be utility, like true utility. First thing I think of.
So Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
And he's got binders full of women too. And he's rich. He can give a lot of money.
I go with the T-1000.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just thought about that myself.
But is that really a robot? It's like liquid metal. You know, it's
No, that's a robot. That's a cyborg.
Well,
that's
Nanobots.
Android.
No. He is a cyborg.
I know.
T1000
This
Yeah.
is where the debate
Yep. 'Cause
goes.
it's living flesh over the exoskeleton.
The T1000 is all nanobots.
Right.
It's all nanobots. Is that considered a robot? Now
Well,
we got to go between
it's a collection
we gotta-
of tiny robots.
cyborgs, robots, droids, and androids. There are many classifications here that we have not even set the rules on yet. Do we just are we saying it's okay for whatever? You know,
I think
All right, we're
changing a
getting like
tire.
the Doctor Who category again. I'm out, man.
I think changing a tire is an integral part of answering this question. If I'm driving down the street and I get a flat tire, I want my assistant, my servant, to be able to go out in the rain and change my tire for me.
Well,
What about
C-3PO cannot bend
what
over,
about
so
the-
that's out.
oh, you're right. He can't.
What about the T2000, the female robot Terminator from the next Terminator?
Her boobs could grow with programming.
Really?
She could program herself to grow
Oh, that's right.
breasts.
It was a trick.
And that's what she-
This discussion always takes a downward dive,
Shocking.
doesn't
Okay,
it?
my current
As the only
back
female
panel.
on the panel.
answer, and
Shocking.
I may
Okay.
change this
I
if
feel
somebody
your
has
pain.
one
This
better.
is very objectifying from the beginning. They're
Data.
servants.
Data from Star Trek.
They'd
He's
be a
got-
good choice. That's a good choice.
Cyberman, yeah.
Okay, we've got a robot.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to go and change my answer. Let's go with that. I like that even better than Bishop.
Why that D?
Because Data, he's a badass.
He's complete
When he wants to be
badass.
badass, he can be badass. But then if I'm like, hey, Data, go make me a cup of tea. Yes, sir.
But he's philosophically minded. He's interested in becoming more human-like. He wants to emulate humans. He wants to learn.
Okay, now I want to get drunk with Data, and we can
Exactly.
You
Okay,
don't
that's the
choose a
best call.
robot who wants to become more like humans. That is the one thing you don't do. All the movies show you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
No.
You stick with like Bender or Marvin.
Well, you
the
can get drunk
Depressed
with Bender
Robot.
anytime. Bender would be fun. You'd be a
Depends on
good
how
time, but he'd never
sexualized
please
you want the
wanna my
robot to
servant.
be.
So, do you live in Stepford?
Oh, Stepford. I forgot to put that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, you
really
got your choice
depends
of
on
robots
several
there.
factors.
I think the Stepford wives would go right between the fembots and the robot from Ex Machina. So
Don't even start picturing it.
too late.
And then what about humans? Those.
Oh, the
heroes
robots
that
from
show-
Humans. Yeah.
Yeah. Sex robots. You know.
So you're not going to go with the maid from the Jetsons?
No, I'm stuck with Data.
Okay.
Mine
Rosie's pretty
is
good. I think Rosie's a good choice.
yeah,
Like,
Rosie's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mine's a new one I've just discovered, and she's called the Android, and she's in a show called Dark Matter. She's
Oh,
the
yeah.
ship's-
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
ship's
yeah.
Android.
No, I've watched every episode of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who have we come down on then, or have we not come down on anybody?
Well, Data is one, Bishop's another one, Mitt Romney is mine. He's a
Mitt
good
Romney's
ro-
good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very robotic.
Yeah.
I like T3000. Well, no, then again, no. T3000 is not good enough of a sex bot. It has to be a good enough of a sex
It will
bot.
crush you too.
This is why I started with the fembots.
Right.
I mean,
Melania,
any
Ivanka?
sex bot that is-
Ivanka.
his name is Terminator. You know,
Ivanka. Yes, who said that?
Ivanka.
Ivanka.
Ivanka's
Yes,
a robot.
Of course she is.
It would explain a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I like R2D2. I mean, he's a portable
I mean,
beer tray.
Kushner's a robot.
He can start your car if you don't have your keys. He can hack into any financial system in the United States or the world to
But
make
so
you
can
rich enough so you
CP3O.
don't need a sex fembot.
So could
Trump would, I would say, Trump would be a robot, but he doesn't have any speech recognition software installed.
Yeah.
So to be
Yeah.
qualified
You'd
as a
have to be
robot,
good
yeah.
at that.
All right, let's move on. Another silly one which just amused me. You are granted the ability to instruct the FBI, the CIA, MI5 or 6, NASA perhaps, to investigate any one theory of your choice. theory or mystery or whatever, what would that theory be?
Do you
Dr.
mean
Orlando.
conspiracy theory or like the Heisenberg
Actual scientific theory?
Any theory you like.
For
you
me-
have the facilities of those agencies.
There's an obvious cabal of market forces composed of grocers, marketing strategists, and politicians who banded together to make sure that the Oreo is a more popular cookie than the original Hydrox.
Whoa.
So
Well,
you
that's
asked-
probably
You
true.
asked at the beginning
Yeah.
of this what
Yeah.
The hell's a Hydrox?
You don't know?
Okay, you know what? Get off the panel.
Yeah, go.
You're
Yeah.
fired.
Away. It's the original Oreo.
It's the original chocolate sandwich cream.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
my
oatmeal
one, I
cream
thought I'd
pie's
throw my one in early because actually it's one of my mother's late conspiracy theories. My late mother's conspiracy theories. And that is, I would instruct the FBI and MI5 to investigate the Chinese.
they already are.
Yeah, why? What specifically are we investigating?
Your mother
that.
had a lot of kind
Name
of crack brain
A
theories. you know.
city, any city
Or town.
or town that does not have a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, God. See what I mean?
You see,
What about,
you see, be fair. You don't go Kansas City, one Peruvian restaurant. I'm not even sure if it's got a Bulgarian restaurant. There's probably an English restaurant and maybe some people doing French and Italian food. But there's tons of Chinese restaurants.
There's a lot
Dewey,
of
Oklahoma. Dewey, Oklahoma doesn't have a Chinese restaurant.
Fair,
Well,
Kansas.
No,
That's
he's
probably
gonna,
their headquarters.
You guys are all wrong. It's Lost in Space is the best robot.
That's a good
we're
robot.
getting the
Danger Will
audience saying
Robinson.
Lost in
What's his
Space
name?
has the best
name?
robot.
No, they just called him Robot.
All the time.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a good robot.
But he was just called Robot.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
He didn't have a name. He was just called Robot.
Robot.
Yeah, they
Robot.
the content creators were on strike that day when they were coming up with
Clearly.
names.
So
for
come on,
So-
what
so
is
you're-
your pet thing that
So
you
for
would
you,
like?
it's you would investigate the Chinese. You're saying the Chinese have infiltrated the entire globe.
That's well, I'm saying that on behalf of my mother.
It was
I
a little
like the
bit
idea of
cracked,
looking
sorry,
of
but she was.
actually nailing what happened to
What are
Amelia
they
Earhart.
infiltrating? How many people in this country write bad checks? What? 'Cause
well,
every Chinese restaurant I've been to just has a wall of bad checks and
Or at least
the wall of
name.
China.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but they're the ones who are going to go up against the wall when the Chinese take over, aren't they?
Great.
Well, they're going to be the first ones.
Take all those bad forgers,
I have an
check
actual
writers, and make
serious
them the wall.
thing that I would like people to investigate. I would like them to get to the roots and make a thorough expose of voter suppression. I think it's a right-wing conspiracy, not
That's a
all the way
serious-
from
That's a good one.
That's an
gerrymandering
actual- yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
cutting down
Who?
or good old Jerry, to cutting down voting hours, to citizenship requirements, to voter ID requirements. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and something needs to be done about it.
And the sad fact is, it's not even a conspiracy because it's in.
Oh,
plain-
it is a conspiracy.
But no, but it's in plain sight what they're doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they're getting their ideas and their laws from fairly secretive organizations
Oh,
that
valid.
write them.
Okay, I see.
And they just put them up to state legislators, and money talks.
Yeah,
The ones who will back those plans get the money.
sure.
Did you see the news story that they've
Minnesota? Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, they've uncovered 210,000 suppressed, delayed, or non-counted votes when Trump won the state by 20,000.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of question
Yeah,
marks.
it's
There-
getting worse and worse.
There's tons of things that are worth investigating. I immediately have like three things that popped into my mind. One is, you guys ever done laundry? And
Oh,
Never.
And
Never.
then you
I
discover.
We just buy new stuff every
I have
couple of
someone
days.
who does it for me.
Okay, I'll wait
Where my can
until
pineapple
everybody's
from
done, so I can finish
I'm
my
all ears, man.
sentence.
Dude, I'm right there.
So, are you done, guys?
We're with
Yeah.
you.
So, have you
Sound
ever?
like me teaching in class.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to finish my sentence. Have you ever done laundry and discovered that you've done the laundry, you pull the laundry out, and there's a sock missing? Everybody, right? Everybody.
Yes.
Now, let's make a very simple calculation. Everybody has done this, and with me, at least happens at least once a month, but probably more than once a month. So these socks are never recovered. Then you factor in that it's not just me. Let's say about 80% of the world population, it happens to them. So that's, say, approximately 5 billion people. Once a month, they lose, let's say, 3 socks. That's multiplied by 12. We're looking at something like 70 billion socks a year disappear. Where the fuck does those socks go? In sheer mass, in sheer synthetic mass, this would be a monstrosity. I mean, there's got to be a parallel dimension or some parallel, they got to go to...
Just look at the street. As you walk down the street, you look from side to side, you will find
that's a good
spare
point.
socks all over the place. You find them out in the middle of the road.
That is true.
What are you talking about?
Find just random
That's
socks.
true. Random socks all over
Yeah,
the place.
and not a pair of just some weird black sock in the
Yeah.
middle. Yeah, I hear
Uh-huh.
you. Yep.
Even more of a confirmation that this needs to be investigated to see how socks can dematerialize from your washer and reappear in the middle of the street.
That's
So
it,
there's
yeah.
obviously some kind of a Rosen-Einstein tunnel, right?
See,
Is that the
I
name?
thought it was a completely different. I agree. This definitely needs to be investigated because I thought it has always been my supposition that my dryer is sentient and that its food is socks. And so whenever I go and start the laundry, I always go and clean my lint filter, which is like the dryer taking a poop. And that's the remains of all the socks that my dryer has eaten from the last time.
So it just takes a whole sock and dissolves it.
Interesting.
That's all it wants.
But I have found
bird
that
nests.
that you can lose a sock, and you will find the other sock just as soon as you throw away the first one.
No, in my
Yeah.
case, they just
So-
disappear.
as soon as you get rid of the one that's missing that you found.
That's your sock reality. My sock reality is my socks are gone forever. Now, another question. Luke, how much, I keep forgetting, how much do the Girl Scout cookies cost?
$4 a box.
$4 a box. So, okay. Girl Scout cookies in Lawrence, Kansas. Girl Scout Society generates approximately, I want to say, close to $1.5 million in Lawrence, Kansas alone. Okay, now
was gonna
let's
say from
think
your
about
family
every
alone, yeah.
town, every little town, every village, every city in the United States. I've made calculations estimating the total annual income for Girl Scouts cookies, Girl Scout Society is close to $142 billion a year, which is the GDP. By GDP, places it in one of the top 20 countries in the world. Good God! I want Girl Scout cookies investigating. Some kind of shadowy government
Mafia.
is frightening the crap out of me. There's a Girl
Mafia.
Scout. There's a Girl Scout shadow government that's pulling the strings, and we're just puppets in the hands of the Girl Scouts, and who knows what the real agenda is.
Have you noticed the box on the income tax returns where it says, "Do you want your refund in Girl Scout cookies or in money?"
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's freaking
Well, they
scary.
obviously have a factory. Now, you think about this, where they make the cookies.
Where do they go? They don't even have buildings for the Girl Scouts.
Right.
They don't have anywhere. Where did this money go?
They obviously have a. They have a.
Or they buy socks. Or
No, my hometown has a
They
Girl
have
Scout house.
Scientology.
They have
I love how he
they
says
have
he's
a-
done
since, like,
calculations.
1950.
I've sat around and done these calculations.
They have
In
a
his
cookie
recliner.
factory, right, that makes
what I
cookies. That I've seen a picture of, and it's not that big. I mean, it's 20 or 30,000 square feet. It's not huge, and it seems to me that must mean that there's something underneath it.
Yes, gotta be.
The whole world,
World domination.
the world
Girl Scout-
domination thing.
Yeah, Girl Scouts will take over at some point. Like post-apocalyptic society is going to be dominated by freaking Girl Scouts.
And what's going to happen is, every now and then you're going to see people like Trump. I bet if we did more analysis, we'd find out every American president has to go and look at the Girl Scout cookie factory.
Oh, gotta get a brownie point.
So yeah, brownie points.
Boom.
Boom,
Yeah,
bam.
boom, ching.
So,
So the president can get instructions from the chief Girl Scout.
that's a good topic to investigate. But really, truly, what I would want to be investigate if I had the opportunity, like in terms of conspiracy theories, I don't care about JFK assassination. This is like a curiosity thing. Lady Di assassination, whatever. You know, what I'm interested in is theories, conspiracy theories that would have an actual impact on the world. Like a conspiracy theory that needs to be investigated, for example, is the suppression of cancer drugs, supposedly. You know, there's a giant conspiracy theory that actually we have a way of curing cancer. Do we really? I would want Congress or NASA or whatever to investigate this. And the same with fuel. You know, hydrogen fuel, why is it not available? Is there really a vast conspiracy to suppress development of alternative fuels by the oil industry?
It's called capitalism, buddy.
Well, that's worth
That's not really a
investigating.
conspiracy. That's actually a well-known fact.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's worth investigating, getting to the bottom of it, see what exactly are the mechanisms that are keeping those incredible inventions to come to light and maybe cure millions and millions of people of cancer instead of dying because there's an industry that's interested in them getting chemotherapy.
Population suppression is not a conspiracy theory. It's
Jane
it's
Carter.
something that's always happened.
If
Hello.
you were able to investigate anything at all, or have something investigated by professionals, and bear in mind that Comey's no longer at the FBI, so, but what would it be? What would you like to have investigated?
Well, I've been sitting here listening to everybody, and I thought, socks. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, what the?
Never would have thought of Girl Scout cookies ever, ever.
Maybe those two are
But
connected.
I'm just sitting here racking my brain. I'm like, what would I want investigated? And so far,
How
I'm hearing,
about Roswell,
yeah.
or-
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Nothing's
Not
coming to
aliens?
mind.
What about the moon landing, July 20th, 1969?
Nah.
Everybody says it's fake. Everybody that's crazy conspiracy theorist.
That's like Kennedy to me.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
a waste
it's-
of a
it's-
good command to
It's
the
worthless.
FBI. Yeah.
It is fake.
Jason, what about you? Jason Springer now.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Evo that I want something that's going to affect us as a species. And you brought it up a second ago, but I would like to know if we really have made contact with some other intelligent life form in the universe.
That could impact everybody,
That would change the way we view everything that we do on this planet.
Yeah.
And that'd be kind of something I'd like to know.
Well, it was 1943, right? Or was it 46 when Roswell
I think it was
happened?
46 or 49, I think.
And the actual army base in Roswell came up with a press release saying that they have recovered a saucer, a flying object, and then later on, when it created a chaos,
was a
they say it
balloon.
was a weather balloon. Yeah.
Then there's this big theory that Area 51 is not really for, deciphering UFOs and dissecting aliens, what have you, but it's really just the stage that was used for the moon landing, the falsification of the moon.
There you go.
So,
Well, I mean, presidents
It's a real
have
facility.
it's a real
It
facility,
really
but
is.
what it's used for, nobody knows.
presidents have access to Roswell, right, and Area 51. So, I mean, Trump can go and say, "Hey, I want to know everything, and I want to walk in." Would they let him, or
God, I hope
are,
not.
are there?
No.
He hasn't got
tell
that sort of
him the damn thing.
curiosity.
I just saw Area 51. The aliens don't look like they did at all in Independence Day. They don't have tentacles.
They look like illegal aliens.
Just sad. It's
Sad.
sad.
Hey, and what are the probabilities that we're going to find sentient aliens coming around here, as opposed to the probabilities that sometime in the future we have discovered time travel? Maybe it was one of us come back.
Here's one for you.
That's a good one.
Here's one for you. Right at the end of the war, 1945. Various British bombers are flying back from a raid in Germany. These guys who fly these bombers are fairly serious people. You have to be to do that. And they would often take what we call cine film, of what was going on. And they're over the English Channel, one of these bombers, and a dish-type affair pulls up alongside this bomber and just keeps pace with the bomber.
Is that true, though?
Yeah, they have film of it. So they put in a report of this, and they're briefed when they land and everything else. And I can assure you that this happened. And the report made its way to Churchill through Bletchley. And Churchill called Bletchley and said, "This is not to be released. The people simply aren't ready for it yet. And you can check this all out. It's all perfectly kosher."
YouTubeable, right?
Yeah.
But is
No,
it-
this is historical research, and the pilot only relatively recently died, and it wasn't. They didn't keep it secret. particularly. They just simply didn't discuss it.
But isn't it also true that the Germans had basically a stealth bomber? I mean, they had aircraft in different shapes, but I don't know whether they were actually made them to fly yet.
German scientists who invented the V2 rocket said that they had knowledge from extraterrestrial sources that helped them out and make that technology.
Well, the Germans, we're digressing.
We're also crazy.
The Germans
Yeah.
had, the Germans definitely had equipment that is roughly equivalent to modern day stealth fighters, and the powers that be denied it for God knows how long until the guys at McDonnell Douglas had finished building a stealth bomber project, and they were looking around for something to do, and they had heard they have top clearance. They'd heard that the Americans have one of these stealth fighter bombers the Germans had, and everyone denied it, and in the end McDonnell Douglas said, we're McDonnell Douglas, there isn't anything we don't know that you haven't got in a building somewhere. And eventually the powers that be said okay, and they took them off to this building, I believe in New York, and they had covers over everything except this one German stealth bomber. And this was 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Curved edges,
It was
roundish.
The whole works.
Probably had a sock disintegrating ray gun.
And you may laugh, but it had all sorts of like compounds on it that the Germans had been working on. This thing was so fast that they reckoned that they would only know about it when it went over the British coastline. That was how fast it was. And McDonnell Douglas built a plywood version of it, right, and stuck it up on one of their testing towers to see how it performed and everything else. And you know, they said it's scary. But I was just saying, what would you like to have investigated? So,
Ghosts. Always ghosts. No matter what. Ghosts,
So here's
alternate
one.
dimensions.
You would really want to have those investigated. Ghosts?
If we can capture one, we can learn all the secrets of the past, which will unlock all the secrets of the future.
Oh, bull. I'm sorry. Don't believe
some
in
of us
that.
have written
Nah.
books. Some of us are working on books. Some of us have done a thesis. Bill Clinton is teaming up with one of the most successful authors in the world to write a novel. The former president is collaborating with writer James Patterson on a new book, which I believe is going to be called The President. Who would you like to collaborate with to write a book, and what would it be about? Who would you like to collaborate with to write a book, and what would it be about? And I take the thing of being the first here. I would like to collaborate with Evo.
Really?
And I would like to write a book about... Don't know what I want to write about. Evo, I have to choose what it's about, but I'd like to collaborate with Evo because he's written two big books. He's actually famous book writer-ish person. So, Evo, you don't have to collaborate with me.
It would be nice to write something like a mystery about the Girl Scouts and disappearing socks and all that. But you know, Bill Clinton is actually writing a book with James Patterson, the Alex Cross guy. This is one of the worst authors ever. you know, this. I mean, he could have easily. I mean, he sold like 50 million.
He's such a good friend of mine. Such a good friend.
This is amazing. He's amazing. No, he sold 50 million books, but man, they're all horrible. His main character, Alex Cross.
I don't think he's going to be doing the dedication on any of your books.
I cannot imagine the mess that this book is going to be. Bill Clinton and James Patterson together. It's going to be just a complete mess.
All right, I got a great idea. First, there's a guy, okay? He's in his apartment. He smoked some weed. I'm not going to tell you where he got that weed. I don't know what the definition of weed is.
Anyway, my idea would be, I would say that the person I would want to collaborate with is Noam Chomsky, and we would write a book about the devolution of our species. That's what we would write a book about how we as a species are no longer evolving and learning from our mistakes, and how we are now going backwards. That's what our book would be about.
the good doctor down at the other end of the microphones.
So again, my thought process. The very first thing I thought was I like mystery novels. I like mystery novels a lot, and I'm thinking I'd like to work with Dorothy Sayers. Do any of you guys know who Dorothy Sayers is? Okay, I would love to write a book with her, but have it set in
I don't think she's around anymore.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
So this was kind of my problem. Everybody that I'm interested in is no longer with us. But I realized that what I was really most interested in doing this is grabbing someone from the past and getting their opinion on the state of the world. Pretty much, and your topic is exactly where I wanted to go. Specifically, I immediately thought, when I realized that that's what I was most looking for, thought about sitting down with Mark Twain and having him to look to look at like race relations in particular, to see what his
Just don't lend
notion
them any
of-
money for printing presses.
Well, yes. I mean, that would be the problem. But I think getting the perspective of someone who is respected and known for their writings in a different time, and getting their perspective on what they see on our planet now, are we tremendously worse off, or are we actually better off from their perspective?
Jane.
That's funny because my dead person, I didn't know if it was supposed to be dead or alive, but my dead person would have been Clemens for sure. He was brilliant, and I'm just now reading all of these essays and criticisms that he wrote. He was saucy as hell, and he was funny, and I think that it would be very interesting to get his idea with the racial relations, because I've read a few things that he said that make me believe that he was quite a bit further ahead of his time than most people think he was. He was extremely well traveled, and he was just a brilliant individual. So that was my dead person. But a person who is still alive, probably not a very grand scheme, but I would definitely pick my friend Kathy, and I would want to write a true account of pregnancy and teens and the true repercussions that comes along with it in every way, shape, or form, like the honest consequences, the way everything is viewed, and I'd want to pull in some viewpoints that I've heard from right-wing pals of mine who seem to speak against everything. They commend you for doing and you know, having accomplished something, and you beat it, but they never take into account that it was just sheer luck the way the chips fall into place. Having a support system, I could have easily well have been one of the statistics if one thing would have been out of place. But it doesn't matter. They don't, you know. So anyway, I'm rambling. But that's what I would want to do. A true account, not the fluff shit that they put on TV. You know, the pregnancy, what is it, Life of Pregnant Teen or whatever. Oh my God. The movie Juno, what a joke. And like they romanticize it and make it look like it'll be okay. It's funny. And I'm like, no.
You know, I was thinking what Jeremy said, that he wants to write with me. I think that he's onto something, because I think the only way to write a book with someone is to know that person really well, to be friends with them, to be able to finish each other's sentences, and to be on the same frequency. I can't think of many writers that collaborated on a book and wrote a book together. There's one famous example. It's Ilf and Petrov. These are two Russian writers. They wrote The 12 Chairs. You might have seen the Mel Brooks movie. And everything they wrote was perfect. But that's very, very rare. I mean, think of two people that, because it's so hard. It's so hard to complement each other and not to clash.
That's it. And not to, exactly. It's all about
It's
give and take.
exactly the reason I couldn't think of any contemporary that I would want to. If it's an author that I like, I wouldn't want to step on his toes because I like the author.
Yeah, but it's like in improv. Writing together probably is a lot like improv. You have to have the right person, and you have to create a situation. Let's say You are you're right. I'm flying an airplane and I'm a serial killer. And then now it's your turn. Come up with the next idea, And now it's your turn again. But to do this, you have to be on the same page, to think alike, and yet to think differently, so you can contribute different angles to the story.
That's exactly why I want my friend Kathy, because we almost have the exact same type of situation, except now, where we're at now, she brings this weird, and I don't mean to be weird, I'd say weird, a religious facet to it, of optimistic, I don't know, it's just strange, and so we really clash on stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah.
This is why I think in terms of market value and in terms of selling the book, if Bill Clinton writes a mystery novel with Kenneth Starr, can you imagine the fireworks, the incredible market value of this product? It's going to be, everybody's going to be buying.
Great market value. Along those lines, my favorite book would be a mystery. I would write a mystery. I would do it with Rachel Maddow. It would be a political mystery.
Of course.
Because she is a great storyteller. She pulls together all the facts, all the timeline. She has everything in line.
She tells a story in such a
great
way.
She really does.
And that would be, I probably wouldn't have much to add, but I could, maybe spell some words for her or something.
You'd be like, oh, P.S.
Yes.
But that is actually Dr. Maddow. She probably doesn't need.
Well, in that vein, if you were going to go that way, I would probably go H.P. Lovecraft. We would just sit down and just write a bunch of horror short stories. That's all we would do.
Yeah. You could write about somebody taking over our government by cheating.
That never happens. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and then firing people who are investigating it.
Shocking.
Sounds like awesome fiction.
Well, interesting one. Here's another one for you. Emmanuel Macron is the president-elect of France. Excuse me. He's married to Brigitte. Is 24 years his senior. Who was his teacher at high school in Amiens.
Yeah.
They first met when he was a 15-year-old student in her class, and she was 39, but were officially a couple only after he turned 17. Traditionally, men marry women much younger than them. Our culture is unsure about a quarter of a century. In fact, it is difference, particularly when it's a younger man. My question is there age difference an important factor in his leadership and, in fact, a good thing? And I'm going to go to Jane first.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't know the background information about all that with the, she was his teacher?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, I missed
drum teacher.
How did I miss this? Yeah. I especially thank you when you say it's a well-known.
It's a big scandal. It's not really a scandal.
How have I not heard this?
Love
French,
her.
yeah.
And she says that he had to stand this time because in 4 or 5 years, however often she said, the thing you'll have to worry about is my face.
Yeah.
Because at the moment she's looking pretty good.
Yeah,
and
this kind of story in France is the most boring conservative story.
Yeah.
But where I was going was that Macron is a relatively young man. He's the youngest president France has ever known.
Yeah.
The youngest leader since Napoleon.
Really, yeah. Napoleon wasn't a very big man, but as a friend of mine recently said, he had a very big head. Big hat. What I'm interested in is she's much older than him.
Yeah.
Quarter of a century.
Yeah.
So how is those life experiences going to affect his decision making? Because like it or not, most couples, with the exception of one local president, talk to their partner at night, or when they're at home.
And you do realize Trump is exactly 24 years older than Melania.
Yeah.
That's what we're used to. So come on, guys.
Well,
let's
I
have
think
some,
it would
what do you
be.
think?
I think it would be a good thing.
Agreed.
He has a certain.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But it's just like anything else. We joke all the time, my friends and I, about how we used to be embarrassed by the old folk, when we were younger. And now all I do is sit there, and when the young folks start making fun, I'm like, it's okay, because I remember this, but now I seem to be enlightened on a level that you are not, because I feel sorry for you. You know nothing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But I think that, no, she's got to bring to the table something really, really profound and
Dr. Orlando,
Shows
you're
his
professional.
maturity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, the fact that he's in this marriage shows that that they are both used to a certain level of scrutiny because, like you said, their marriage exists outside of the norm. So for me, the fact that that they are together and seem to be a happy couple, I think that holds more importance than the current Trump-Melania marriage. But to be honest, if Trump and Melania seemed happy, that would be better than
But they don't.
current Trump-Melania marriage. So I think the fact that this couple has found happiness seems to have found happiness and a way to cohabitate as a partner relationship despite their age, I think speaks a lot about both of them. And specifically because it is against the norm. I would think that can't help but help him as a leader.
Exactly.
Or help him to be seen as a leader.
Because it would give, to Jane's comment, it would give him an added perspective. And he would have someone from a different generation kind of helping him gain a new perspective of the people of France.
Well, to be 100% fair, though, she could be really, really immature.
She could be.
I mean, but the truth of the matter is...
But here's the thing, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
If they are, quote-unquote, if they are happy, that means they both have gone through very difficult things together because society says that they are wrong, yet they work together to still find joy and happiness together. That takes a lot of strength, a lot of wisdom to do something like that.
Well, Mary Kay Letourneau went for 6 years in prison for having a child with her student. I think she was 34 and Willy Foilau was, 12 or 13 when they first met. Yeah. Then I don't know exactly when they started doing whatever they were doing, but she ended up in prison for 6 years. Then she comes out and gets back together with him, even though there was a court order for perpetuity forbidding them to even meet or be in the same room. And she meets with him. He has another second child with him, and they get court order removed. They get married. They're married to this day. I don't know how many years, maybe 10 years have passed, 12 years.
Well.
So he's got to be in his 20s, and she's in her 40s. And they seem to be happy as hell. I mean, I watched the movie. She wrote a book, I think, and they're like, she said something like in the movie, I remember she said that their relationship is forever and ever. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's a love story for the ages, it's Shakespearean, it's whatever. It's interesting to me that she was raised in a strictly Catholic family with extremely conservative parents. I found out through the movie her father was one of the most conservative people in the entire country. He was he ran for president as an ultra-conservative to the right of Libertarian Party. Her brother is a foreign advisor to Donald Trump. So this is the family she's coming from, you know. And is it kind of a reaction? And she was a party animal in Arizona State and all that. Is this kind of a reaction against this kind of upbringing? I don't know anything about the background of Emmanuel Macron and his wife and where she's coming from. But also I wanted to raise the question, what is up, and you might be able to answer, what's up with these female hot teachers getting kinky with the students in the last 10 years or so? It's insane.
I think it's much, much older than that.
Yeah.
It's much older than that, maybe.
And
But
Kathleen.
it's only you're noticing it because they're
Because it's out
publicizing
there.
it when it's a female with the young man. It's been
Agreed.
happening.
I
with
was
older
actually
men.
going to bring up
Agreed.
remember
With the
the Celine
females.
Dion Renee crap?
Yeah.
Remember
Totally
that?
agree.
Yeah, that was a big deal too, but it was never as big a deal as what you were just talking
But it's
about.
happening a lot lately
but there
with
is the double
women.
standard for sure.
Yeah, of
without a
course.
doubt.
Well, could it be that females reach sexual maturity in their 30s and males in their 80s, with some exceptions?
I think,
But-
honestly, I've actually done a lot of thinking about this topic.
Yeah.
I'm serious because I really think that a lot of
Pheromones.
these women are at a point where they're really lonely, like just super lonely,
they're
and
around
kind of have
guys
this
with
this
pheromones.
pathetic idea of
Enough with
I'll
the
just do whatever
pheromones.
it takes to make myself happy. I think that that's what they're thinking, and it's either that or mental illness. I mean, like, what else could it be? Like,
These women seem
You're
very,
just-
very normal and really
they
good
seem
looking.
normal.
Yeah.
People
They
just
seem
want to
normal,
fuck.
but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That they
People
seem
just want to be
people
loved.
Let's go to
fall in
Mikey.
love.
Mikey, people
all.
just want to fuck is a great title for your next book. People just want to fuck.
It's actually the title of my article in Maxim. But
good.
And if that's the only attention you're getting on a daily basis,
The
you
guys,
get where
the
I'm going
boys,
with this?
the young boys looking at
I
your
would
boobs.
prefer that.
If I mean, you know how many I know that this is also a double standard. Men go out to bars and I can't pick anybody up, but a woman could do it like click, fast, boom.
Yeah.
You know, so they're like, oh, I don't buy that shit, and I'm like,
They want
no,
to
I know
man.
some really weird introverted people who would never
Who-
do stuff like that. They're just lonely.
Lonely, and then there's certain source of attention, immediate source of attention, and
Yeah.
they just
Yeah,
embrace it.
for example,
Doctor-
I've never had a successful date or relationship in my 32 years on this planet.
Well, I turn. Oh, isn't that sad? That is sad. That's
Wait a
very
sec,
sad.
I don't need that from you. I get that from my therapist.
Okay,
I pay
Doc-
good money for that.
That's why I
Dr.
said,
Orlando.
So, in the case of the two examples that we just talked about, Macron and the Letourneau family, whatever her married name is now,
Fualao.
voila. Okay,
It's really Fualao's her husband.
gotcha.
Like the boy.
So, are those exception? Like, I think we've come down on the side of this is maybe a pathology for the women, as opposed to a true.
No, I have not come down on that side. Sorry, I don't agree with that.
You know,
Okay.
I forgot she was in a very abusive marriage with a very abusive, powerful, macho husband, and maybe that was a counter.
Kathleen, do you want to come back and finish up this subject?
Well, I think that with any politician, in fact, with any person, having a loving partner, no matter what the age, somebody you are compatible with and on an intellectual level with and will support
So 7,
you,
8.
yeah, is a wonderful thing. And it helped Obama enormously. Trump is showing the lack of it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's wonderful that they've got this bond, and I don't think we ought to pick holes in it.
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more? Would you like to do one more?
Yeah.
One more, okay. This is an interesting one that was put to me. Most jobs that exist today might disappear within decades as artificial intelligence outperforms humans in more and more tasks. It may even replace humans in more and more jobs. The crucial problem isn't creating new jobs. The crucial problem is creating new jobs that humans perform better than algorithms. Consequently, by 2050, a new class of people might emerge. The useless class. People who are not just unemployed, but unemployable. So how can we, our generation, how can we help our grandchildren lead a fulfilling life?
And there's the topic of a book you could collaborate with somebody on, the future of the people and the useless class, because I think it's inevitable. We are going to have a whole load of people that we don't have any work for, because we have less and less work to do and more people around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we discussed this, right? We had a big show
did.
on this, but it's an interesting topic, and I agree that this is where we're going, and more industries are becoming automated. They even now have fruit picking robots.
Yep.
They're picking up apples, and because of the shortage of foreign labor, that because of the new rules
They
and
should
stuff.
stop telling her to bruise them.
So-
I saw a claw mark in my pomegranate.
So yeah, good point. But see, the thing is, I think we are going to adapt. I saw I'm observing the emergence of a new class. I don't know if you agree with me, but in the last 10, 15 years, we have a content developing class. Started with blogging, YouTube, microblogging, and basically we have millions and millions of people creating thoughts, like taking their thoughts and creating content using their thoughts. And this effort is being monetized right now by the same industries that are getting automated, but they need commercials. They place commercials. So I think, and this layer, social layer, is getting thicker and thicker, and that's an interesting emergence of a new labor force. At least I look at it as a new labor force. People creating, having ideas, imagination, putting together content, creating, putting it online, and this stuff being consumed. And there's a need for more and more and more of this.
It's almost like we are becoming a social computer.
Yeah. Also, I think we're inevitably moving towards a situation, and you probably will agree with this, where the government needs to have a wage for you being a citizen of this country.
Agreed.
Like, to tell you the truth, Canada already does something like this, because if you live in Canada and you are unemployed, you get unemployment, but it's for such a long time that it basically is a salary for you just being there. Same thing in Norway, several Scandinavian countries. I think we're inevitably, as a humanity, moving in this direction where everybody will have to have a minimum, at least some kind of income, whether you're working or not. The problem is, how do you then motivate people to apply themselves and do something?
Guaranteed income is a great idea.
Yeah.
Once you implement that idea, that creates incentive to eliminate other departments and bureaucracy that help create these social programs like Medicare, Medicaid, etc. You just give everyone a guaranteed income, and they spend it the way they want to.
But then
after that, then it's so long. That's your guaranteed income.
Then we stop producing, because there's not going to be a motivator for you to push
it's
you
a
forward.
minimum guaranteed income. It
Okay.
just helps you get health care, it helps you get shelter, it helps you get food.
I agree.
That's it.
We have to have this. We have to have this.
Dr. Orlando,
But people want more than that.
are we heading to single payer and things like that?
I think
Inevitably.
I literally think that is outside the purview of the original question. I think that the original question about what happens if we get to a point where we don't have manual labor anymore is a much more interesting question. For me, that question, it goes in one of two ways. We get to the point where we literally don't have jobs for people to do where they're using their hands.
Yeah.
Means we have fundamentally changed our understanding of humanity. Because I think the interesting thing for me is that I think the argument, and it wasn't really an argument, just the discussion that was going on between you two guys there a minute ago, was this notion of humans are defined by what they do, what they can contribute. And we are rapidly coming up on this spot where a lot of people who contribute merely with their hands won't be able to. It just won't be economical. So for me, either what's going to happen is our understanding of humanity will change to such a radical degree that we can't talk about it here at this table, because it will be a drastic enough change in just our day-to-day existence that any idea that we can have won't make sense, or it's going to be exactly the same, and we would essentially tell our kids or our grandkids to do exactly the same things that we tell them to do right now, which is, if you want to live a happy life, find something that you like to do, figure out a way to make money doing it, and that's what you do.
Did you
See, that
see
was
the-
it. The phrase leading.
Jane,
No
let's go
other direction.
let's go to Jane and
the
see
phrase
what.
leading a fulfilling life was what catches me. I mean, the rest of it, everybody's talking about jobs and salaries and stuff like that, but I hear lead a fulfilling life. And there are a lot of people right now, 50 years ago, who never did that. They're the wind-up dolls that we've created, saying that if you don't have this and you don't have the American dream, you're not leading a fulfilling life. But maybe we need to get onto a different concept of what constitutes a fulfilling life. I feel like people live, but they don't live. Like they literally are the wind-up robots. So I'm just
We're the ants in the ant farm.
I'm thinking, if we're going to try to help our grandkids lead a more fulfilling life, let's bring it back to old school creativity and social interaction. And
Which is the most the coolest thing about what Evo said is that that's kind of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We're seeing a move away from this, go to the mine, work hard all your life, and you don't die poor, and that's the closest you can get to a good life. We're actually starting to see this transition, at least from my perspective.
Creators.
We're seeing
apps, creating apps.
We're seeing, I use the term artistic because I'm not artistic, and I see these people creating this stuff, and I'm always jealous. So, but we seem to be looking at this paradigm shift starting to occur, and the problem is, we're seeing it in the form of the Real Housewives of Atlanta or Survivor. But the truth of the matter is, we are generating. Do you remember what the figures are, Evo? We're generating something like 400. Feature-length films an hour and being put on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's the Girl Scout cookies alone.
I question the sustainability of a society that is just predicated upon everybody creating more and more for the amusement of each other.
But see, here's the interesting thing.
That's why we're devolving.
No. But see, here's the interesting thing. We are predicating this conversation on the notion that we are going to develop some mechanism to take care of manual labor. Manual labor is no longer a concern.
Maybe so, but then we'll have lots of extra people, and I have the feeling that instead of making them creative, we're going to use them as war tools.
Louis is so right.
People are going to start invading other countries with them.
Yeah, we are. When you said that no more. Did you see the robot that's building a fucking house in like 12 hours? We carpentry, masonry, those things. And when you mentioned, doing jobs without using your hands, even the oldest profession is gonna get automated.
Back to the robots.
Sorry about that one.
You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed, and I'd like to thank our crew as I clear my throat. Jason Springer now.
Yipper.
The magic Dr. Orlando. The indefatigable Kathleen Taylor.
Okay.
The legendary.
Wait. Sorry, I got to interrupt. Evo, who are we sponsored by today?
By the Continental Basketball Association. and of course, TWA, as usual.
TWA, yes.
And the Warsaw Pact.
And
Delta.
Spirit Airlines.
United.
We want to thank that marvel of sophistication, Jane Carter, the Dark Lord of Transylvanian pheromones, who will in fact be going to Transylvania later on this.
Not really.
Straight back, using everything that he learnt today for stand-up in Kansas City, Mikey Pokorny.
Yeah, I don't have a successful date or relationship in the last 32 years, so I do not give a shit where the future goes. We're all going to
can
die.
we say that Mikey, the rumors about Mikey being bald and not having hair are not true, ladies and gentlemen. He's 25 years old, a very successful stand-up comedian. If you want to get in touch with him, just get in touch with Wednesday Night Undressed, and we will set you up with a night of horror on board a TWA jet out of Kansas City. Without further ado, thank you very much.
Stand up.